Hi, my name is Robert Rodriguez. I'm from Temple, Texas, and welcome to the RTS Houston helicopter assault ship. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the ship, generally speaking, from stern to bow, from back to front. What I wanted to start out first is the brick-built name Houston that I did for the ship itself with the number 36. And number 36 has significance in that in 1836, Texas became a republic. And it actually had its own navy. And so what I did with this ship was I wanted to imagine that Texas never became a state in the United States and remained its own republic to this day.
And so kind of like alternative history type of build almost.
Exactly. But because Texas is so obviously next door to the United States, they wanted to make sure that their ships and all their equipment reflect the United States as well, so they're allies. Okay? And back here at the very tail end is the capital, or is the captain's ship, or captain's yacht. And so unfortunately I don't have it very well lit like the hangar decks, but hey, it works like that. Moving forward, you can see that there are 8 F-35B short takeoff vertical landing jets, okay? These days, these types of ships actually have a lot of F-35s, and so they're called Lightning carriers because the F-35B is called the Lightning II, okay? So what I have depicted here are 7 jets in waiting, 1 ready to take off, behind some helicopters when they lift off as well. So we'll move forward. Here, right under one of the jets, is the Whiz anti-aircraft defense system, and it's basically a Gatling gun. I think it's 20 millimeter. It might be 30 millimeter now. I'm not sure. But as you can see some tow vehicles for the carrier itself. You can also see the lines and striping. Everything means something on the ship. Okay, the striping, the yellow and red lines mean that that's where the props for the helicopters. That's about the limit that you want the props at. Okay, so when we see the helicopters as we move forward, you can see a MH-47 Chinook helicopter, which is the Navy version of a CH-47 Chinook, which is an Army helicopter. Great Britain actually uses this helicopter on their ships more often than any other people. Okay, and so that's why I have these set up like that. And then of course you have to have a recovery crane in case something happens. And then down here we have one of the elevators, and so everything's lit up. Unfortunately, I don't have the whole hangar deck built in. I just didn't get around to it, and it's actually been built for over 2 years now. Because of COVID, we couldn't display it last year.
It's still impressive, though, everything you were able to put on the top here.
Yeah, I tried to make sure it reflected an actual ship, but in actuality, it reflects characteristics from 10 different ships on like 7 different navies. And so, yeah, I try to do a little bit of everything. The actual, the command island, back in the back is the air traffic control. And that's where all the air traffic control is. And if you notice here, there's green and red lights for ready to take off and, hold on before you take off, that kind of thing. Stop before you go anywhere. But the island, I wanted to make sure there were angles. There were angles on the island itself, and that reflects similar characteristics to the Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier from England. Even though that's a much bigger ship, I just kind of like the angles on there and such. And of course I have all the masts with the modern radar systems and communication systems, etc. And in theory it runs on 2 diesel electric engines, actually Rolls-Royce diesel electric engines, and that's what powers the ship and all the electrical systems and all that kind of good stuff. So as we move forward, the white thing here is like a radar system, and it's actually mirrored on the other side. Okay, and as you can see, the helicopters are close to the left side of the deck, so that way the props don't move over that yellow line, and that's usually where they land. And then, but the jets, obviously, since they don't have props, they usually take off using the yellow line, and it's a long takeoff, or actually a short takeoff. And I'll pick up this one here. This one has the vertical fan, so the air comes out from the bottom. Oh, I'm about to break it up. So let's put it back there. And I already lost the gear.
It can be rebuilt.
Right, exactly. It's Lego. And then, of course, the the rear exhaust turns down. So basically, there's a fan here, or the exhaust here, and a fan here that blows down, so the aircraft stays vertical. Okay, so we'll just set that down here, and I'll rebuild it later. And of course, as you can see, I have another CH-47 waiting on deck. The little red truck there is a fire truck, and so they have to have fire vehicles, even on an aircraft carrier as well.
It's almost like a small city with all these different vehicles you've talked about here.
Exactly. And then right in front of that are two SH-60 Seahawk helicopters. Those are for anti-sub roles, also air-sea rescue, that kind of thing. That's their main function. And then so there's usually 3 or 4 on a ship of this size. A ship of this size carries about 20 aircraft. The Lightning aircraft, they usually carry about anywhere from 10 to 15. I actually made 11 for this ship. Moving forward, you can see one of the speedboats that are hanging off the deck, and also the access port where they get in and out of the ship, or in and out of the boat as well. And of course, it lowers down. This implies that these are chains, but I tried to put chains on there and just didn't work the way I wanted it. So I used the flat silver antenna bars. Worked out really well. One thing I want to show y'all is the flag, and what that flag is, of course, is the Texas flag, but it also has the 1836 Texas Navy coat of arms on there. And actually, that's a giveaway for everyone who visits the ship for this convention. So that's what I wanted to do for everybody and such. So we'll move forward. The last aircraft I want to show y'all is the V22 Osprey, which is a vertical takeoff, and also the blades will turn forward in flight, so it flies like that. But in takeoff, they usually angle it like this or vertically, depending on how quickly they want to take off. But usually in this mode, it's a little bit of a rollout, and then it lifts off. Okay?
A little bit of a controversial aircraft with Lego after.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, right behind me, actually on the other side of the table, I actually have the a miniature version of the controversial V22. Unfortunately, it's parked over there, and I guess we'll have to do that later. And then, of course, this one here, this V22 Osprey is stored. In other words, it's basically set up to where it can be stored under the hangar deck, etc. And obviously, it doesn't take up as much space as when the wings are ready for flight.
It's amazing how it can collapse down like that.
Yeah, what they do is they rotate, and because I couldn't make the system, or I couldn't make it to where it could rotate like that, I had to do it to where you just switch out a couple of bricks, and there you go. It's either stored or ready to go, basically. And then lastly is the bow of the ship, which you can see, of course, we Texans are big on our flag, so we have to have the Texas flag on the ship. And then right behind that, or right here, is Tomahawk missile silos, so that way it can launch Tomahawk missiles. And over here, that I didn't point out, the white items here are pods, lifeboat pods. And so I wanted to make sure the ship has them all up and down the sides of the ship. These pieces here are the netting in case somebody gets blown off the deck.
The gate pieces work great for that, to represent that.
Yeah, so that's why I use those. And, of course, you have short surface-to-air missiles as well. These ships usually don't have those anymore. They usually use the Whiz air defense cannons. And this one here is mounted with 4, I believe, 4 of them. And that's pretty much it. The ship is about 75 inches long. The display itself is 80 inches long. I used a lot of clear blue tiles for the water because I wanted the ship to be in the water, and that's how that ended up working out.
Well, thank you for the excellent tour. What's the inside structure like on this? Is it pretty much all hollow?
It's actually hollow, and in fact, I can back up and pull some of these aircraft off just to show you the construction on the inside. And I had to keep it very economical when I was building it. And you can see it's hollow.
Yeah. Why waste bricks inside there if you don't need them?
Exactly. It's just make sure it's structurally sound. In fact, if I put in some more plates, somebody could actually stand on it. It's that sturdy. But I couldn't stand it on it now because it would collapse. I'm too heavy, that kind of thing. But yeah, so.
Well, excellent work, and we will actually take a look at a second ship you have here as well right now.
Yeah.
So take us through this one.
Okay, right before we do that, I wanted y'all to see the RTS Houston's cap. The United States Navy uses a cap similar to this, where it would say USS Houston or USS Texas or something like that. And so when I wear this cap, the reason I wear it is to see how it draws attention, as well as to see if people understand that is it a real ship or not. And when they see a cap like this, they automatically assume it's a real ship. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why I just wanted to do that and such. Now, usually the helicopter assault ship travels in a task force, and typically what they do is they have 3 or 4 frigates, just like the one pictured here. This is the RTS Herdsman, which is FFG 173, and the reason I named it the Herdsman is because my father, Robert Sr., was in the Army and with the 173rd Airborne Brigade, so I kind of wanted to throw that in there and kind of give it some significance to Texas as well. And so what I decided to do was build one with the intent of later on possibly building a fleet or a task force. The task force is usually the carrier, 3 or 4 frigates, a supply ship, a fueler type ship, and a submarine, or maybe 2 submarines. And I just started with these 2, and if I do it some more, great. If I don't, oh well, so. But what you see here, starting from the stern, is one of the SH-60 helicopters coming in for landing. And if you see on the deck itself, everything is brick built except for the star. So it's got the anchor.
The anchor is a great touch under there. I like that.
Thank you. But yeah, so I wanted to do it that way. And so the helicopter's coming in for landing. This first structure here, the first part of the structure, is actually the helicopter's hangar. That's where it would be stored when not in flight. Right above that, of course, is one of the Whiz cannons, air defense cannons. And these other structures are either radars or some type of communication antenna, something like that. On each side, that's mirrored. You also have more Whiz cannons. This one is also powered by a Rolls-Royce electric, a diesel electric engine. And I also have more communication like antennas, etc. This rotates, but it's not powered. But it rotates.
It's a play feature still.
Yeah, I always have to have a play feature. And as you can see, one of the speedboats is similar to the ones on the other ship, and this one is actually being deployed, so I had to work it that way. And then, of course, you have to have a bank of Tomahawk missile systems. And I forget the type of a missile system, these 2 structures here right in front of that. I believe it's the British use that system. So I thought, you know what, I want to throw that in there too and make sure that it has good offensive firepower if it needs it. So, and then of course ahead of that is the main mast, along with of course another flag for the ship. And then in front of those are 2 5-inch guns that they can traverse and elevate and such, so I try to do it that way. And of course, all of my numbers are brick built. They're shadow boxed, everything like that. And this one is about, I want to say like 3 feet, a little about 3.5 feet, something like that in length. I also wanted to put it in water, so to make sure it looks like a Navy ship, etc. And that's about it. I mean, it's a whole lot of stuff on there.
There is, yeah. You set these up very nicely. The blue tiles surrounding it sets the scene really nicely. You've got all the great details included there that you would expect from these ships. I like your kind of different take on the historical perspective a little bit with some of the different elements you brought in from different naval ships.
Yeah, and as you can see, I actually have on these sheets of paper, I have like a story that goes with each ship. And of course, in theory, the Herdsman is based in Corpus Christi, so I'm hoping that when people come in, they'll say, I don't remember that ship being based in Corpus Christi or the Houston being based in Houston, you know, that kind of thing. But I built these, and I just like the Navy because my stepdad is actually in the Navy, and I used a lot of photographs for the helicopter assault ship. Like I said, I used 10 different navies or 10 different ships, 7 different navies to come up with a design. One of the things I wanted to do with the carrier was do a ski ramp at the end, because that's common in other navies aside from the U.S., and I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it to work the way I wanted to, because I want it to be smooth. But you know, Lego doesn't make a piece that would work, and so I had to do it that way.
Yeah. Well, keep up the excellent work, Robert. Definitely thank you for bringing these out to the show, and look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for interviewing me. It's good to see y'all again.